Hey everyone, my name is Miss Rouse, and I'm going to be helping out Miss Bannister this summer school to help you guys learn all the math that you need. I really encourage you to pause the videos while you're watching and try out the examples that we're doing before I show you how to do them. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be learning about 3.1, solving equations using addition and subtraction. Okay, so when we're given an equation that looks something like this, we have x plus 6 equals 3. What we're trying to do is solve for x, so we want to know what that unknown is. So an important concept in solving equations is inverse operations. Inverse operations are operations that undo each other. So what does that mean? Well, in our equation here, x plus 6 equals 3, what we want to do is figure out how we're going to get x on its own. Well, we have to look at what's being done to it first. So right now it has 6 being added to it. So we have to get rid of that 6. And we get rid of that 6 by doing inverse operations. So let's take a look at what that would be. So for instance, if we have subtract 3, the inverse operation, something that would get rid of it, would be to add 3. Okay, and maybe you're already sensing a theme here, so go ahead and pause the video, see if you can figure out what the next one would be. So if we wanted to figure out the inverse operation of add 7, go ahead and pause, think about it. So the inverse operation of add 7, well, we want the opposite of add 7, which would be to subtract 7. Okay, well, then if we wanted to do inverse operations for add 6, we would want to subtract 6. And if we wanted the inverse operations of subtract 11, I bet you guessed it, we're going to have to add 11. Let's look at some more examples. So in these problems, we're asked to solve for x. Sometimes we'll have to simplify first. For a, we have x plus 5 equals 10. So we want to get x on its own, but right now we have add 5. So we have to do the opposite of that. So go ahead and pause, take a second to think about what we're going to do next. So to get rid of add 5, we have to do inverse operations, so we'll have to subtract 5. But what we do to one side of the equation, we have to do the other. So we're going to subtract 5 on the other side of the equal sign as well. So we have 5 minus 5, which cancels out, which is what we want. And so on the left side of the equation, we have x left over on its own. And then on the right side of the equation, we have 10 minus 5. And 10 minus 5 is just 5. There we go. And we can always check by plugging 5 back into our original equation just to make sure that it really worked. So if we plug 5 back in for x, we have 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. And 5 plus 5 is 10. So indeed, we have 10 is equal to 10. It worked out. All right, go ahead and try to do this next example on your own, and then unpause, and we'll do it together. So right now, we have 2 plus x on the right side of the equation. So x is not alone right now because it's being added to by 2. So we have to do inverse operations. The opposite of adding 2 would be subtracting 2. And what we do to one side of the equation, we do to the other. So on the right, we have x left over because our 2's canceled. And then on the left, we have negative 9 minus 2. And so we have negative 9, and we're taking away 2, so that gives us negative 11. And you can leave it like this, negative 11 equals x, or you could write it with the x on the left and write x equals negative 11. Either way is fine. All right, so for example C, this one is not as simple as the other ones because it has x plus 4 minus 3 on the left, and on the right it has 6 times 5. So this is where this statement, simplify first if possible, comes in handy. So we're going to add our like terms and simplify as much as we can. So on the left we have a 4 and a negative 3. So we can combine those and we can make this x plus, well, 4 minus 3 would just be 1. so we'd have 1 here. And on the right, we have 6 times 5, which would just be 30. And now it's a little bit more like what we're used to. So we have x plus 1, so inverse operations. We subtract 1 from both sides. Then we get x is 30 minus 1, which gives us 29. Boom. Awesome. And then the last one, again, try to pause this, do it on your own, see if you can, and then unpause, and we'll do it together. So we have x minus negative 6. Now remember, what does it mean when we have a minus a negative? What can we rewrite that as? Well, you might have guessed, we can rewrite this as x plus 6 is equal to 4. So simplifying first before we solve. So now we have x plus 6 is equal to 4. We'll do inverse operations. We'll subtract 6 from both sides. So our 6's cancel. We're left with x on the left. And then we have 4 minus 6 on the right, which would just be negative 2. So that's about it for solving equations using addition and subtraction. We're going to keep moving forward with 3.2 next, so see you guys in the next video.